Welcome back to the series Tell Me and My Stupidity. I'm joking. It is actually time for the next chapter of Star Darlings before I call it a night. Libby and the class election. Chapter 3. Put that down. Sage squirmed in her seat. Libby, who was sitting right behind her, felt really sorry for her classmate. This couldn't be easy. Especially since they were in their final class after a long day of school, the Star Darlings' daily private lesson, and also because that day their guest lecturer was Professor Eugenia Bright, who taught Intro to Wish Fulfillment. Professor Eugenia Bright was tall and slender, with cropped turquoise hair and matching eyes. She was the most popular teacher on campus. There was always a long line of students outside her door during her office hours looking for extra credit assignments, wanting to make a good impression on the brilliant teacher, or simply seeking to bask in the warm glow of her presence. Libby knew that Sage had to be completely miserable. So please explain to the class exactly what happened at the start of your mission, Professor Eugenia Bright said. It will be most helpful for everyone to determine exactly when and how things took a turn. Sage twisted the end of one of her thick purple braids between her fingers. Noticing this, the teacher added more gently, I'm sorry to make you uncomfortable, my dear. It's just that the other students can learn from She stopped herself. The challenges you faced on your mission. Sage took a deep breath, then began to explain that she had arrived on Wishworld and headed to the school as directed by her star zap. Using her powers of suggestion, she was able to convince the faculty and teachers that she belonged there, and then she employed her observational skills to get the clues as to whom the wisher could be. After receiving information about a girl in a difficult situation, Sage had realized that it seemed promising, so she headed over to talk with her, and after they had chatted for a while, discovered her wish. And what kind of wish was it? The teacher asked gently. Well, it seemed like a good wish, Sage said slowly. She was the new girl at school, and her mother, who was trying to help her make friends, had invited her classmates to her birthday party. Against her wishes, but it was a big mistake. No one RSVP'd. She was embarrassed. Oh. Sorry, I thought there was the Starland version of RSVP'd. Anyway, she was embarrassed and upset that no one was going, and she wished someone would come to her party. The teacher nodded. And what did you? Just then, there was a knock at the door. Sage exhaled loudly, glad for the brief break from the questioning. Class, said Professor Eugenia Bright, indicating that one of them should use their energy manipulation skills to open the door. Sage brightened and took the opportunity to show off her formidable powers. The door slid open effortlessly. Oh, said the class in unison. Sage gave a smile. It was a small victory, but it was obvious it meant a lot to her at that moment. There stood Lady Cordial, the head of admissions, the short, stocky woman, her bright purple hair cut in an unfortunate style that did not suit her face. It had a pained expression. Son of a bitch. Had a pained expression. Leona said that she always looked like she had just broken your favorite vase and was trying to figure out how to tell you about it. Lady Cordial's eyes widened with surprise when she saw that the classroom was filled with students. Oh, I'm sorry, she stuttered. I didn't realize that class was still in session. I wanted to ask you a question about the admissions committee, but... Her voice trailed off, and she stood in the doorway uncertainly. Well, hello there, Lady Cordial, said Professor Eugenia Bright, Professor Eugenia Bright said kindly. She walked to the front of the room. Always a pleasure to see you. Come right in. We can talk when class is dismissed. She thought for a moment. Why don't you stay and observe our class until then? Oh, what a startastic idea, cried Lady Cordial. She stutters on every S word. It's bullshit. Anyway, she stepped inside, then somehow got her foot caught on her long purple skirt. She lunged forward, off balance, and grabbed the edge of the desk to catch herself, managing to knock over a plant sitting on it. Sparkly dirt spilled everywhere. Oh, my stars, Lady Cordial said, her hands fluttering to her face in dismay. Libby cringed, Poor Lady Cordial. She was so very clumsy. There was a snort as one of the There was a snort as one of the Star Darlings tried to hold in her laughter. Libby glanced up to see that Leona's face was bright red and her shoulders were shaking. Lady Cordial stared at the floor in embarrassment. I'm sorry. It wasn't that she fell. It's the fact that Leona had the audacity to try and laugh about it. I don't like Lady Cordial for many different reasons, and once we get further into the series, you'll see why. It still isn't right to laugh when she falls. Okay, anyway. Lady Cordial sat at the floor and stared at the floor in embarrassment. Her cheeks flushed. As she walked past the students to the back of the room, she sat at an empty desk, fortunately without further mishap. The dirt vanished almost immediately. We were discussing Sage's mission and the challenges she faced, Professor Eugenia Bright explained to Lady Cordial, by identifying where her mission took a wrong turn. The other students may be able to learn from it. Libby saw Sage's shoulders sag once more. Professor Eugenia Bright frowned. So where were we, class? She asked. Adora raised her hand. Sage was just telling us that she had identified a wishling who wanted some classmates to attend her birthday party. The professor nodded. And that certainly does sound like a worthy wish, she said. But something seems off to me in the order of events. Can anyone guess what it is? 11 hands shot up, including Libby's. Libby caught Sage giving her roommate Cassie a baleful look. But the tiny pale girl in the star-shaped glasses ignored Sage, her hand held straight up in the air. Yes, Astra, said the teacher. You always need to verify the wisher before trying to determine the wish, she answered. Because if it isn't the right wishling, it doesn't matter what the wish is. Correct, said Professor Eugenia Bright. Now, Sage, did you make this wish come true? Yes, said Sage in a low voice. Her eyes were fixed on her desk. And what happened when you granted it? Nothing, said Sage. No glorious burst of light and color? The professor asked. No, said Sage. No jolt as your wish pendant absorbed the wave of positive energy? Sage shook her head. Not even a tiny energy surge. The teacher pressed. No, said Sage softly. She looked as she might burst into tears. Exactly, said the teacher. No matter how worthy a wish is, if it hasn't been made by the correct wishling, you will not be able to collect any wish energy, she said, clasping her hands together in time to her words to emphasize their importance. In fact, you probably used a lot of your wish energy reserves in the pursuit of the wrong wish. Sage nodded miserably, and the result was that you didn't collect as much energy as you could have. Sage looked stricken. I didn't... Sage... fuck. I didn't... Lady Stella never told me that. Professor Eugenia Bright bit her lip. Oh, she said. She glided to the front of the room, where she walked back and forth, her hands clasped behind her back. She somehow managed to make something as commonplace as pacing look elegant and regal. Now, did you try to confirm that you had identified the correct wishling by looking at your wish pendant? Did it light up? Sage nodded, grimacing. It did light up, but Libby and the entire class leaned forward in anticipation. Professor Eugenia Bright and Lady Cordial did too. But what? The teacher prodded. Sage sighed. It was terrible. I didn't realize that I was talking to the first wishling. There was a second wishling passing right behind me. I stepped back, bumped into her. When I looked at my wish pendant for confirmation on the first wishling, Professor Eugenia Bright held up a hand for Sage to stop talking. Can anyone explain what happened here? She asked. Again, 11 hands shot up in the air. The teacher pointed to Vega. Sage thought that the birthday girl had made the wish she had been sent down to help grant, but it was actually the other wishling. It's a classic case of wisher misidentification, Vega explained. I did some research on it in the library, and it happens more often than you would think. Historically, 50% of wish missions are failures, and the main causes are either the wisher or the wish being misidentified. That is correct, Vega, said Professor Eugenia Bright, and star kudos for your extra work. Congratulations. Good job. Vega sat back in her seat, looking very satisfied with herself. Oh my god, I can't stand her! Sorry, there's a lot of characters in this book I just cannot stand for one reason or another. And Vega kind of falls on that category because, like, ooh. Okay, I'm gonna try and read without my glasses for, like, just a bit because, like, the back of my ears are hurting. Sage cleared her throat. That's exactly what happened. I think I was so excited when I thought I had found the wisher so quickly that I overlooked any other options. The teacher nodded, The teacher nodded, laying a hand on Sage's shoulder. You were in a very confusing situation. Luckily, you were able to realize your mistake, find the correct wishling, identify her wish, and collect energy. Sage nodded. Just not as much as I could have, she said with a sigh. She looked so miserable, Libby felt the urge to help make her feel better. She raised her hand. Yes, Libby, said Professor Eugenia Bright. I just wanted to say that it couldn't have been easy to go on the first mission. I think that Sage was very brave, and I think the complications are going to be unavoidable. This is all new to us. Sage taught us a lesson that you have to make sure that no other wishlings are around when you first identify your wisher, just in case. And that's really helpful for all of us to know. Excellent point, Libby, said Professor Eugenia Bright. I appreciate your ability to see both sides of the situation. She smiled at everyone. Great work today, starlings. Class dismissed. Before Libby could stand up, Sage turned around and grabbed her hand. Star salutations for what you said, Sage said to her. It isn't easy being in the starlight. Libby nodded. I know, she said, patting Sage's shoulder, and you're welcome. She stood up and straightened the skirt of her pink dress. Hold it. Oh, wait, hold on. Nope, wrong voice. Hold it, cried a familiar voice. Libby turned around to see Leona climbing onto a chair, her arms in the air. I have an announcement to make. I'm starting a Star Darlings band, and I want you all to try out. I just ask one thing. Please keep it quiet so everyone in the school doesn't show up. Scarlet laughed. As if, she said. Leona stuck out her tongue to her roommate. We just want to keep it small so it will be laid back and fun, just like me. So meet in Star Quad at the band shell. Bring your instruments and come ready to rock out. What about singers? Gemma asked. Leona threw back her head and laughed. We've already got a lead singer. Me. Every other instrument is up for grabs. Scarlet rolled her eyes, but Libby started thinking. As the Star Darlings filed out of the classroom and joined the throngs of students... I hate that word. Throngs of students in the hallway, eager to enjoy the precious few hours before dinner time, Libby noticed a few girls staring at them and whispering. So did Leona. Take a hollow picture, she told them huffily. It lasts longer. The girls gave her a scornful look, but hurried away. Libby hid a smile. In order to keep their Star Darling status secret from the rest of the school, they all had to pretend that they were in a special study group during last period. That bothered some starlings more than others. Libby felt a little strange about being singled out, but she knew that the work they were doing was just too important for them to worry about what other people thought. Others, like Leona, felt humiliated by it and couldn't seem to get past it. Of course, Libby was hopeful that someday maybe the truth would come out. But if it didn't, well, that was okay too. Mostly because it had to be. Okay, that was chapter 3 of Libby and the class election. So, next video will be chapter 4.